On the show this morning, I have Dallas Derksen. He is the managing director at Prairie Aviation Training Center out in Alberta. Dallas, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me.
So, I would love to know a little bit more about the reality of the pilot shortage as it stands and what that looks like if nothing changes.
All right. The pilot shortage is nothing that's really new. It's been kind of something that's been cooking and brewing for quite a few years. My take on it is that the primary driving force of it is simply that people are traveling more often than ever before in our world's history. It's not just a Canada problem, it's a worldwide problem. People never used to travel to Europe for a day or two to do business, or it was very rare that they did so. Now that happens regularly, holidays around the world, things like that, which is fantastic. But with the growth in travel, pilot training just hasn't been able to keep up with the demand, and that's it generated an increasing shortage in pilots. Additionally, throughout most of aviation history, the last 100 years of flight, pilots basically we're at a point now in aviation where pilots are retiring, which interesting hasn't happened before just because our industry isn't really that old. And so I don't think that's really a driving force of it, but it's definitely a factor.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to know what your training center, as well as potentially Mission Aviation Fellowship, is doing about this.
All right. So with the pilot shortage, it's not just in industry pilots with airlines and things like that, but also within mission aviation. And with Mission Aviation Fellowship, they need more pilots as well. And so several years ago, MAF and Prairie College, they got together and chatted about it, and they made a partnership agreement where MAF would manage the flight school here at Prairie. Prairie has a mission aviation um, diploma program for pilots who are headed into mission aviation, and MEF really saw that as a strategic opportunity to partner with Prairie College to provide excellent mission aviation training to pilots who are headed that way. And then additionally, not all of our pilots go into mission aviation, but a lot of them do end up in industry around North America and the world. And we really feel that if we prepare them well to be a mission pilot, they're going to be a great industry pilot as well.
I like that those two can coincide. Speaking of this pilot shortage, I hear there's a talk of virtual reality training. Can you share a little bit more about what that looks like?
Sure. So simulator training is not a new thing in aviation. It's been happening for a long time. There's always been a really, really big gap between airline style simulators and what your average flight school can provide for training or for simulation. Um, Virtual reality is a relatively new technology. It's been around for a while. I mean, many people have the Meta Quest stuff in their home, so it's something like that, but more so. So what we have, what we've just received, our first one is a Cessna 172 trainer, and the flight deck is exactly inch for inch an exact replica of a Cessna 172 aircraft. And so all the switches are in the right place, the throttle, the yoke, all the instruments, everything is displayed in exactly and functions exactly the same as it would in an aircraft. And the student, when the student gets into it, they put the virtual reality goggles on. And so what they see when they look at the display in front of them, they actually see what's really there. So they see that exact display. They see their real hands, they see the real yoke, the real throttle, and everything like that, and the instruments and how they're responding. But when they look outside the airplane, they see the virtual environment. And so this is a level of simulation that, like I say, hasn't really been available, at least not in this way, for your average flight school, really ever. And so it's really exciting. It's kind of opening up. There's a lot of potential with this kind of thing, and we don't really know yet what it will all be able to do. But one of the things, I mean, you guys are in Winnipeg, so you understand winter, um, and cold.
Yes, we
We
do.
get that here, maybe not quite as cold as you guys do, but there's a lot of days in the winter where we simply can't fly our airplanes. It's too cold, it's too snowy, it's too whatever. With this technology, we are hopeful that in the coming time, the simulator will be approved to a level that will allow us to do flight training in that simulator on those days. So simulator training has typically just been instrument flying type training. Very, very little visual training like is needed for a new pilot. And so um, yeah, that's what we're hoping to do. We're involved with Transport Canada in a pilot project that's looking at this exact thing right now. They want to know if this technology has evolved to the place where it can be used for this. Because if it can, if we cancel those flights on those days, or if the airplane goes down into maintenance for some reason or something like that, we can just transfer those flights right over to that simulator, do simulator flights, and just continue. So what that means is that we can train pilots to at least the same level, we hope actually a higher level of skill and ability, of competency in a shorter period of time. And, it's a small thing, but if this starts to pervade industry and other mission schools as well, we should see more pilots being trained to a higher level and getting out into industry.
Now, you're a pilot yourself. Have you tried it?
It's really new. We just started, a few of our pilots started hopping in it to see what it's like. I've had the goggles on once. I haven't actually flown it yet, though, but I've experienced that virtual environment and that interaction between real and virtual. And it's really cool. Um, the simulator company, their technician is here and he's working to make it better every day. And so we're kind of right on the very beginning stages of this, the cusp of this. I believe ours is the first of their 172 simulators. And so it's that new.
Wow. As somebody who is petrified of flying, but will still fly, I'm sure I speak for a couple people to say, in your own opinion, do you think that this virtual reality could truly prepare pilots in a safe way?
Absolutely. I would actually make the argument that the safety is probably enhanced. Definitely in the training environment. There's a lot that you can do with the simulator that you can't do in the real airplane. In the simulator, if the student makes an error, you can simply pause it, debrief the situation, talk about what happened and maybe what they should have done, reset the sim, and then continue on and do it again and ensure that they do it correctly. In the airplane, if they make a mistake, well, then of course, as an instructor, you have to deal with that mistake, but the airplane has to keep flying. And so that's on you as a student and instructor crew to do that safely, which is how flight instruction has happened for years. I don't know that there will ever come a time where flight instruction will be done exclusively in simulators. I think there will always have to be an actual aircraft involved because you have to confirm and you have to be assured that the training that's being received transfers over to the real airplane and they're a competent pilot in the real airplane as well. But with the potential to pause the simulations, to be able to debrief and do that, that's where the instructing part of it can become actually more effective in the simulator. And you just have to find that balance between, and this is what that Transport Canada project is about, finding that balance between how much can happen in the simulator and how much can happen in the air or needs to happen in the aircraft. Because I mean, safety is huge throughout aviation. Um,
Absolutely.
I
Well,
think in addition,
go
sorry,
ahead.
I think in addition to the safety, there's the potential for money savings for students. Um, it's getting more and more expensive by the month to fly. Parts are more, avgas and fuel is more. All those things, the prices just keep going up, and so it's quite expensive for students to get their licenses. It's much, much, much cheaper to operate a simulator like this. So there's that. The other side of it, or another side of it, is that with every hour a student flies in a simulator, the aircraft isn't being flown, and so there's less maintenance that's potentially required for that aircraft. And then, of course, due to those similar things. There's environmental factors, noise pollution, things like that doesn't necessarily need to happen. So there's other benefits as well.
Thank you for that well-rounded picture. I actually do feel a lot better about it, and that makes total sense. This morning, is there anything else you wanted to share, Dallas?
Well, I think we talked briefly about the partnership between MAF and Prairie College. And, as an MAF pilot, our mission is to serve together to bring help, hope, and healing through aviation. And our vision being to see isolated people changed by the love of Christ. And that's really what our drive is here at Prairie Aviation Training Center. It's not just about cranking out pilots as fast as we can. It's about discipling young people, discipling these up and coming pilots, so that as they grow in their skill and ability as a pilot, they're also growing in their relationship with God, so that when they leave here and they go wherever they go in the world, wherever God plants them, that they can serve Him as ably, competently, and safely as possible to see the gospel spread throughout the world. So that's really what drives us, and that's why we're so excited about this type of technology, because we really see a correlation between those two things.
Fantastic. Well, Dallas, I love what MEF does and what you guys are doing as well. If it gets off the ground, well, we would love to hear back from you and just hear how things are going maybe in a couple months. But thank you for taking the time today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.